And now, a public service announcement.
Tempting and deadly distractions for teen drivers is scrolls. Reading or writing a scroll while driving a camel, horse, or other animal makes you 20 times more likely to have an accident. 78% of teen girls and 57% of teen boys admit to scrolling while driving. You, as a parent, should talk to your teen about not scrolling and driving. You should also set a good example by putting away your scrolls while in control of an animal. Scrolling and driving is a deadly combination. Get your family and friends to agree to put away their scrolls while driving. Take the pledge, save lives.
Welcome to AOMC Evening News. I'm Cole Cutts.
And I'm Candy Barr. In our top story tonight, Queen Esther risked her life today after 3 days of fasting by going in to see the king without being summoned. Thankfully, the king was so glad to see her and extended his golden scepter so that she could approach him without being killed. We are told that he offered her half the kingdom, but she settled for half the king, and Haman joined her for a banquet where she simply asked them to join her for a second banquet tomorrow.
He encountered Mordecai, whose continued refusal to bow to Haman caused his happiness to turn into fury. Haman went home and, on the advice of Zeresh, his wife, and a number of his friends, decided to have a 75-foot gallows built and asked the king for permission to hang Mordecai on it. This would allow him to enjoy the banquet with the king and queen and restore his happiness.
And now, a word from one of our sponsors.
Are you looking for a licensed, bonded, or insured contractor who can remodel an old gallows or build a new one? Do you want a reputable company who takes pride in doing a job right? Someone you can count on to be on time and get the job done? Well, look no further than Ernest and Julio Gallows Builders. We can build from your plan, or you can choose one of our popular designs. We build gallows or any other type structures, simple or elaborate, residential or commercial. No job is too large or too small. Our gallows are sturdy and our nooses are strong. Remember, Ernest and Julio Gallows Builders will leave you hanging.
News. I'm Candy Barr.
And I'm Cole Cutts. In the news, a surprise parade and other special honors in Shushan today. Our weather reporter, April Showers, is on vacation. So May Flowers is here with the weather and some details on the story. May?
Well, the weather throughout the kingdom is the same as always. Partly cloudy, partly sunny. Cold in the mountains, hot in the desert, with the occasional sandstorms that are always bad for my hair. But it was a beautiful day for a parade in Shushan today, and that's just what we had. Prime Minister Haman was leading Mordecai throughout the streets of Shushan on one of the king's horses, shouting, "This is what is done for a man the king delights to honor." Mordecai was wearing one of the king's robes and had a royal crown on his head. The king's press secretary announced this morning that the king was ill last night. There was no further information as to the nature of his illness, just that he had a sleepless night. During the night, the king called for a servant to read the chronicles, the record of his reign, to him as a form of sleep therapy. On hearing the account of how Mordecai had saved his life by reporting the assassination plot, the king was surprised to discover that Mordecai had never actually been rewarded for that. Another source in the palace told us off the record that Haman came in to ask the king's permission to hang Mordecai on the gallows he had built. The king took that opportunity to ask Haman's opinion on how to honor someone. It is rumored that Haman thought that he was the one to be honored, so he suggested a grand parade, but he ended up putting on a parade with Mordecai as the honoree instead. After the parade, we are told that Haman was escorted to the second banquet with Queen Esther and the king. Back to you in the studio.
Indeed it has. And that's the news for this evening. We'll leave you with a word from one of our sponsors.
Imagine being run over by a reckless donkey. Imagine being injured by a runaway horse or a camel. Imagine being laid up for a while and not being able to work. I was in just such an accident. I had huge bills for herbs and plasters and doctors, and the other driver even refused to pay. It wasn't my fault, and I didn't cause the accident. I called Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and they got me the coinage I deserved. And they'll see to it that the other driver pays you a fair amount too, so you can relax and get well. Just imagine that. It's just that easy. At Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, they're looking out for you. Call 1-800-MY-MONEY today for a free case review. It won't cost you near a thing.
Good evening, and welcome to the AOMC Evening News. I'm Cole Cutts.
And I'm Candy Barr. In a shocking turn of events that rocked the government today, Prime Minister Haman was hanged. Queen Esther revealed that she was Jewish, and Mordecai was named as the new Prime Minister.
However, the shock quickly turned to rejoicing. Now, standing by at the palace with more on the story is our reporter at large, Jay Walker. Jay?
Thanks, Cole. As you know, the Prime Minister joined the King and Queen for the second banquet, where it is rumored that the King offered Queen Esther up to half the kingdom. My sources tell me that she asked that she and her people, or the Jewish people, be spared from death. When the king asked who was trying to kill her, she pointed to Haman and exposed his evil plot. At that point, we are told that the king stormed out of the room, and when he returned, Haman was falling onto the queen, begging for his life. The king was furious at what he saw as an attempt to assault on his wife. Harbona, one of the king's servants, pointed out that Haman had a 75-foot gallows built so that he could hang Mordecai, who had saved the king's life. The king then ordered Haman be hung on his own gallows. The palace press secretary announced this morning that Mordecai, who happens to be Queen Esther's cousin and foster father, has been named as the new prime minister and given the signet ring which was taken from Haman. He also confirmed that the Queen Esther was Jewish and that her real name was Hadassah. The king gave Haman the estate to the Queen Esther, and she turned it over to Mordecai. That's the story from here. Back to you.
I issued an executive order to every province and in every language that the Jews were to arm and defend themselves against their enemies on the 13th of Adar. When the order was published, the Jewish people had a feast and a holiday to celebrate.
Well, today has been an exciting day for news. We'll keep you updated as events continue to unfold. And now, from one of our sponsors.
Are you having trouble with your dromedary? Is the mule too stubborn to handle anymore? Are you longing for that new creature smell again? Well, my friend, it's time for you to look into trading that old mammal in for a new model. Come on down to Hamid Swindle's Camelot and see what we have in store. We have camels, we have dromedaries, we have donkeys. If you're looking for a Hemi, a tow package, or a luxury model, you've come to the right place. Come in today and we'll buy your old animal. That's right, we'll buy your used beast of burden, or put it to value toward your new purchase. Don't forget to ask about our week-long special. Buy a camel for a price of a dromedary. That's an entire hump free. See what our customers have to say.
Our salesperson was extremely knowledgeable, but very earthly, down to earth. He told us and suggested you could do, look at this, look at that, and gave us options. And we really were well pleased here.
So come on down to Hamid Swindle's Camelot. We have bargains to carry out your burden.
Good evening and welcome to the AOMC Evening News. I'm Candy Barr.
And I'm Cole Cutts. Our top story tonight, 500 dead in the capital of Shushan and 75,000 dead in the rest of the kingdom.
Also, the 10 sons of Haman were hanged. Our judicial reporter, Lily Pond, has more on the story. Lily?
The statute passed by former Prime Minister Haman provided for the annihilation of the Jews today. And as you know, the laws of the Medes and the Persians cannot be changed. However, the edict written by Prime Minister Mordecai allowed for the Jews to defend themselves. The 10 sons of Haman were hanged at the request of Queen Esther. Also at the queen's request, the Jews at Shushan were given an extension of Mordecai's edict for today. Mordecai's approval rating is high and getting higher every day. He has now declared that the 14th of Adar should be a day of feasting and gladness and sending gifts to the poor each year as a reminder to a subsequent generation that they overcame their enemies on this day. The command of Queen Esther established this holiday of Purim. That's it from here. Back to you in the studio.
Our news for this evening from AOMC Evening News, I'm Cole Cutts.
And I'm Candy Barr. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.